So he's pulling this off because we're going to pull off the crank trigger wheel for the VVTI, which we will need for this, for the non-VVTI bottom end, which will go with the new oil pump. No, I don't know what it goes with, but we have to get that crank trigger wheel off to put on this engine. We already pulled this one off, and then we're gonna slap this head on here with the new oil pump and a couple other parts tonight. I don't know how much we're gonna put on here, but that's first.
So you use them for all kinds of shit. You can use them for this type of stuff. You can even use them with the steering wheel.
Quite harmonic.
It's not harmonic. Hey, it's mine.
So what we're doing here is, since we are not using the GE head that uses a distributor, we're switching over to VVTI head. So we are going to be using cam sensors and crank sensors. We have to switch the crank trigger wheel over to 32.1 because that will provide our crank trigger now with our new oil pump that has the revision for a crank sensor.
Now we're gonna put the head studs in.
We'll blow the deck off real quick.
Blow it off, head
Yeah.
studs, head gasket,
Yeah.
head.
We also need
Pretty easy.
the other dowel that we had out earlier.
I wonder where that went.
Yeah.
We'll find it. It's gotta be in this mess of things. It's totally findable.
Or anything like that, you have to check the height. You have specifications for it. I think intake side is 6 to 10 thousandths if I'm not mistaken, and the exhaust side is 10 to 14 is the spec for it.
How
So
do
you
we-
have to be within that.
How do we adjust that?
So if you do have one that isn't within spec, what we have to do is torque all the cams down. We got to take all of our measurements with feeler gauge. Any that aren't in spec, whether it's too much or too little, we will have to then pull the cams back out, measure our discs, our shims, and adjust accordingly to that. Get proper size shims.
Okay, so we'll probably need to get some different shims.
Potentially, we'll have to check it and see where it's at.
Okay.
RP lubricant on both sides because we want to get proper torque measurement on it. We don't want any friction. So put some ARP on your fingers. And you just basically want to coat both sides of these. There you go.
How many fingers?
Just however many you need to do this.
I don't know.
You just want to wipe, you just basically going to, however you want to, just rub them together and get lubricant on both sides of it.
Put them on my wrong fingers.
It's okay. That's why you're wearing gloves.
I'm making a mess out of this.
So then slide it on this guy. And what you can do is use that and it'll drop right down where you need to go. So you're not fumbling with it, it'll go right on it.
Give me some more.
Grab one of those up.
So after this is torqued down, we have to check the
valve lash.
valve lash. So this may come back apart.
Yes, depending on where where it was set before. We don't know much about the original motor.
Gotcha.
So if they did not have the correct shims in there, we will correct it this time.
Sounds good.
So you're gonna go back over to this guy. So we gotta get some feeler gauges because you don't have any here. So
Right.
we'll stop for tonight. What we're gonna do is when the lobe is facing away from the lifter and bucket, we will go in there with feeler gauges to see what the tolerance is and make sure it's within our spec. Like I said earlier, the intake side I believe is 6 to 10 thousandths if I'm not mistaken, and the exhaust side is 10 to 14 generally on a 2J. I'll have to double check on a 1J, but I assume they're probably going to be pretty similar.
Cool. Well, it's almost a motor. We're getting there. Soon, very soon. Get some stuff powder coated, so when we start putting the rest of it, everything can look pretty, because it already looks really nice compared to what we were working with earlier when it was full of leaves and trees and junk, and pretty stoked on this.
Animal urine.
What would you do if we didn't have this? How would you?
You didn't
What's
have
the way
this.
to rig this that people would do?
Normally people use either a socket or a punch or something to put it in, but at that point, if
Nothing's gonna go down level.
If you rupture the sheet seal or compromise it in any way, you have to pull either your whole timing components back off, or if it's on the rear main, you gotta drop your transmission.
Yeah.
This way, it takes out any possibility of that happening.
Perfect.
And then it stops right at the perfect height.
That's so awesome. So it can't go too far in.
You don't have the risk of, pushing the seal too far. It's got a revision to stop it once it gets to the correct depth.
That's beautiful.
There you go. Pounding it down this weekend.
Hell yeah.
One of the dudes on there was up in paint. It was tight.
That's so sick. Just measure the
Valve lash.
valve lash on the exhaust side. The intake side is in spec, so we're gonna measure the valve lash first. Then we're gonna take the cam out and take all those shim buckets out.
And
And
calculate
measure-
the difference
yeah.
to get it into spec.
Yep. .11 goes to 5.
You said 5?
Yep. Needing all 12, we only needed 6.
Yeah,
Then
we were able to move some around.
we robbed some more, did the math the right way,
The correct way.
and now we just need 3 shims. So that's easy after all the fucking...
Mathematician. Math
The
with.
gauges said they were right, so our math worked out.
Yeah. Put them together now.
Ah, what have I done?
You're a huge dingus. So like I said, just this leading edge because that's what's going to see on the
Teamwork.
certified.
Teamwork.
Get your Beulah design parts, seal driver.
Dang. So this is just like we used on the other side.
Yes, it's the counterpart.
Okay.
So you're going to put it up against there.
Which way?
That way. That's going to face the seal. That raised
Okay.
surface will push in on the seal.
We got our parts. This is what we were waiting on. Didn't have it before, have it now. But also waited to get these. Neat. What today is, we're finally gonna pull the grenade pin.
And blow the whole thing up.
Blow
You've
the
been
whole
building.
thing up. From Japan with love. Oh,
It's not good. It's not a good job at all, actually.
cam gears?
Yes, so we're going to use a 17 mil
17
socket,
mil socket?
for 3/8 drive.
I'm just gonna hold the cam. Which one are we doing first?
Intake.
This one?
Or exhaust, I'm sorry. I lied.
That's okay.
Big time liar.
This guy.
You ready?
Yep. You're stronger than me.
There you go. Now we will.
Get in there. Nice.
Nice.
Not bad. Not bad.
See how that turns?
Uh-huh.
You gotta make sure that's turn to the right when you do your timing.
Why is that?
So
So you can't just have it anywhere. It has to be turned all the way to the right?
Correct.
And that's because of?
That's properly setting up the VVTI gear internally with the cam so that the timing is all natural on the outside of the motor.
Rock on.
If not, your timing will be off.
Okay. But you're going to line that line up with this line on the back plate,
Yeah.
correct?
Yes, sir. Since it is all the way to the right.
Okay. And then do you do the same over here? Do you
Yeah,
line that
this
up?
one's already lined up.
Oh, okay.
Or it should be really close anyways.
Okay. Fancy. That little dot
Yeah,
gets lined up to...
there's a line on the crank gear.
Okay, I see it. Like that?
Yep, that works. You want all your slack on this side, so
Okay.
it's gonna take me a second to get it. Sometimes you gotta cheat the pulleys to be able to do that.
Mm-hmm. The most exciting part of the day.
Boom.
Well, that was pretty anticlimactic. I thought it was gonna get crazy.
Alright.
Okay.
Feels good there. Give
Yeah.
me that 22 and ratchet. Let me run it around a couple times.
Putting the baffles back in the valve covers after getting them powder coated. Pretty neat to have a multi-piece valve cover like this. Okay, so then we gotta build this puzzle piece. We have these fancy heat shielding gaskets that are supposed to keep things cooler.
They're thermal.
Thermal?
Yep.
They just feel like plastic, but that should work. So this is where it would be nice to have a stud in the engine, but we do not have a stud on the head.
We just have the studs over here.
Yeah!
Put a stud through there.
Put a stud through there.
Through there.
Put one through there.
Let's do one over here too, just for good measure.
Good measure. And then I'll hold this on here like this. That's definitely the way that goes.
What you can do is slide on the studs that we just installed.
Ah, I'll do that. That was long enough?
Yeah,
Okay.
they're a dick and a half long. I measure them.
All right. Okay.
Cut.
What goes in there? Oh. I'm dumb.
Hey, you said it, Bubba. So, it's pro tip, rather.
Trip.
If you don't want to open a bag, you
Oh,
make a
just
hole
pull
and
it
pull it
through
out.
it. Okay.
Yeah, that's something I've learned.
But now the bag's no good.
It's not my bag.
It's not my bag. Not my bag, not my problem.
I can smell your poop still. It's in the air.
It's in the air.
Like Phil Collins. I think that's who sings that song.
Maybe.
The good thing is everything you spent money on is transferable if you ever blow it up.
It's done. It's together. It's built. It's a 1.5 JZ. We have a 2 JZ GE bottom end, 1 JZ VVTI head. Everything's sealed up. We got fresh powder coat on some of these top parts, the intake manifold, valve covers, and just a couple small things away, engine mounts, and get the clutch on here, and we're gonna put this back in the car. So I couldn't be happier. Couldn't thank JP enough.